Hi everyone, welcome back to my little crafting corner of the internet. Today for my craft I was inspired by a book I'm reading currently. It's Frankenstein, not reading it for the first time, reading it for the first time in English, and that's a whole different beast for me. It is a bit difficult for me to understand. But I am using Frankenstein to be inspired for my Valentine's Day craft. As some of you might know, I used to live in the US for 6 years, and in the US, Valentine's Day is a way big thing compared to how it is in Germany, where I live now, where I'm from. And one of the things that is really big in the US, and I actually kind of miss here, are conversation hearts. You know, those small little candy hearts that have different messages on them, like XOXO, love you, or those kind of things. So I like these conversation hearts, and I haven't had them in a while since I haven't lived in the US for a while. And while looking up inspiration for maybe recipes to make my own conversation hearts or how I can buy them, I stumbled across an image of a beret, like a cute pink felted beret with some conversation hearts stitched on top. If I can find a picture of it, I'm going to insert it somewhere here. So if it's not here, I'm sorry. But so I found this picture online and immediately got inspired for making my own beret with these cute little conversation hearts on top. So that's how this whole idea got to be. However, I'm still in the mood of not buying too many new things for a craft. So I decided, instead of using like a felted beret, which I had to buy, I was using some of my yarn that I still have to crochet a black beret, and then would put some conversation hearts on it. I would use felt for the conversation hearts since I still have that as well. I love the combination of green and black. And when I think of green, I immediately think as well of Frankenstein's monster. And that's how this whole idea got to be. And yeah, so why don't you join me and see how I'm making this cute Valentine's craft. I'm making it for myself, but you easily can make this for anyone else, any person in your life, or for yourself. So I hope you enjoy this. I started with crocheting the beret. And since I am not good at creating my own crochet patterns, I looked up a tutorial online, which I will link in the description. But there are many beret crochet tutorials out there, and if you want to make this hat, feel free to use the tutorial that works best for you. By the way, I sped up the speed of my crocheting video by 500%. This is my actual crochet speed.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do so you
Well, so I am not done yet with crocheting the beret, but I will head out now and see if I find something I can use to write on the little hearts, the conversation hearts I will put on top of the beret. I was thinking of like a puffy paint or a glitter paint or something. Since I decided to use felt, I don't think just painting it on is a good idea, because as you know, like felt has these little hairs, and I feel like it might not be very clear, right? Like the hairs might get into the color and then it looks a bit fluffy. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I hope so. But I just think that painting it on or using a black pen is not the best idea here. So I will go out to the city and see if I can find either puffy paint or like one of those glitter glue type pens. So yeah, we'll see. The store had many lovely crafting options, but I stayed strong and only bought something for this project. We are back, and so I went to the store. I didn't find puffy paint or what I was looking for, what I had in mind, but what I actually found is this, which is stamps with all letters of the alphabet. So that's even better than puffy paint because it can make it very uniform, and it has some nice dark colors I can use for stamping it on. And I actually already tried this out, and it's not perfect yet, but I don't know if you can see. Here the L is not perfect, but I think it's gonna work. I made another one. See, so I will need to try this a bit more, but I think this is the way to go for having the little messages on my conversation hearts. But now I will continue crocheting the head, like the beret, and when I'm done with this I can find out or can measure what size the hearts should have and see how I continue. On to more crochet. I initially intended for this to be a 2-day project, but then I realized I had made part of the beret way too large and had to frog about half of the beret again. That obviously took some time. For anyone unfamiliar with the term frogging, in the wonderful world of knitting and crocheting, frogging means to unravel stitches to correct a mistake or to start over.
One eternity later.
For 2 of the hearts on the beret, I wanted Frankenstein's monster and the Bride of Frankenstein to be in the center and used my all-time favorite stencil method, freezer paper, for this. First, I transferred the outline onto the freezer paper, cut everything out, and then used the iron to attach the stencil onto the felt, before using black fabric paint for the actual design. When you iron on freezer paper, always use an extra piece of fabric to protect your iron. It's time to cut out all the felt hearts. I initially wasn't sure if I wanted 2 different shades of green or how I wanted the hearts to be oriented on the head. So I first laid out everything onto the beret before making a decision. I decided on 5 hearts in the same green shade, 3 with stenciled words, hence conversation hearts. So I finished crocheting the beret and I finished cutting out and stamping on the hearts, or like putting the Frankenstein monster and the Bride of Frankenstein onto the hearts, and that's how it looks now. I used some pins to already decide roughly the location where I want everything to be on the beret, and I looked in the mirror how it would look. I think it looks kind of okay. And so the next steps will first be to remove these leftover threads from crocheting, and then I will sew everything onto the beret, and then we will see how everything turns out. A little tip: when working with bulky yarn, it can be tricky to thread it through a needle. What helps is folding the yarn over the needle first, and then pushing the folded yarn through the eye of the needle. It's a bit hard for me to explain in words, but I think you can see it clearly in the video. As the last step, I'm attaching the hearts to the beret. Just popping in here because I sewed on the first heart, and the reason I decided to use like thick embroidery thread and do this type of stitching is because I thought it fits very well to the stitching on Frankenstein's monster. So as I said earlier, I will continue now finishing this, and then I will see you in the reveal. That was the video for this week. I made this cute little beret. It turned out exactly or even better than I wanted it to. I didn't have many problems while making it. Besides, as you saw, at one point I had to frog it because I made it way too big, but that was my own fault, I think. I should have just looked at the dimensions a bit earlier. But yeah, otherwise, there's nothing really I can say negatively about this. There's an event in a few days. I already know I want to wear this too. I have to see how I will put this on my head, how I will wear my hair with it. But I think it's super cute, and I want to thank you for sticking around, watching the video. If you enjoy this video, it would mean the world to me if you leave me a thumbs up, if you would write a comment, or even follow the channel so I know I can make more videos like this and someone enjoys them. But yeah, until next time.